All right, what's going on, guys? Tremaine here. Here's today's trade we took on stream this morning. I'm showing a small little clip. I wanted to trade my live account on stream, but for those who know, I switched brokers and there's some funny business going on. I couldn't place any orders, so I had to last minute switch to paper just so I can still take trades on stream and whatnot. So just wanted to show that before anybody says, oh, it's a paper trade. I trade live funds in the Discord, but my new broker, I had some stuff to sort out, so I'll get that done later. Anyway, I'm shorting a 15-second fair value gap, and you see I'm targeting sell side here, trading view being a little laggy. And looking for a sell side, and I have my best case scenario exit marked down there. We have relative equal lows that form just underneath my entry. I'm telling the group that that's a little too smooth. And right now I'm pointing to that bearish order block. So those two consecutive up close candles, okay, that is one bearish order block, and you're gonna see me highlight that in just a second. Not the best fill on my entry, and we're gonna sit in a little bit of drawdown here. Wasn't the cleanest day. Even the daily chart is a little messy. And right there's your bearish order block. I'm looking at that entire wick. And this midpoint, you want to see that support price. And right there, what I just did is I took off 5 contracts. So I shorted 10 and I closed 5 a little bit in drawdown. That is one of the ways that I kind of protect my equity and protect my equity curve. Okay, if I'm in a trade and it just feels a little suspect or is doing things that I may not want to see in a trade, instead of just closing the position, I may just take off half, and that's what you see me did there. So now I'm only short 5 contracts, and you can see we're working that bearish order block, that wick of the lowest up close candle. That's your most sensitive point. You're looking at the low, that wick, the midpoint, and the opening price. So we're sitting in a little bit of heat here, but as far as the price action, the bodies are still respecting that PD array. We traded up above the 830 open, cleared out buy side. We also had SMT with the Dow and ES. So that was one of the reasonings for taking the trade here. You see me, I'm telling the group about midpoint of that order block. And I'm showing them how the bodies are respecting it. So at this point in time, there you go, pointing out the order block again. We're in that 850 to 910 macro, so I'm telling them that I would want to start seeing some spooling now that we're in that time window where price starts to move. All right, getting nice feedback off of that order block, and you're gonna see me add on 5 contracts there. So what I just did was I added back on the 5 contracts that I closed early. So now I'm short again 10 contracts at pretty much the same price. I took a small loss on those 5 contracts because I closed it in drawdown, but we're gonna recoup that, so it's no worry. I'm taking off 2 contracts there as a partial underneath those equal lows, just to kind of recoup some of that small loss. I'm talking about the order block there. Reducing my risk. Sell side is the draw. Stop moved. Not to break even. Taking off 2 more contracts there. So now I have 6 out of my 10. And I was aiming for, excuse me, the rejection block. That lowest closing price I'm pointing to there in that swing low. That's what I wanted to aim my second partial at. Yes, there's sell side underneath that low with the wick, but the bulk of the volumes in the bodies of the candles. And you can see pretty much bulk of my position coming off at that sell side. And I'm outlining that macro. You can see the beautiful spooling that occurred. Okay, that's 850 to 910. And throughout the trade, you're gonna see me kind of play with my limit orders. As we get closer to the opening bell, I'm kind of deciding where I want to take my last few contracts off, but we'll get to that later. feedback is looking good. This wasn't my best trade per se, but again, the daily chart, at this point in time, we're having an inside day on the daily, so we haven't taken out previous day's high or low. We're trading inside middle of yesterday's range. And even the price action here is really not the cleanest, but just making it work with what we're given. It's important to take partials on days like this. The seasonal tendency for March is consolidation. So if you look on your daily chart for NASDAQ right now, it's a little messy the past week or so. So it's definitely a month where you want to take partials, kind of get your bread and butter setups. And then I think spring should be really nice. All right, so price is consolidating a little bit, and I'm highlighting this fair value gap right there. So what we're doing is we're taking that 5-minute fair value gap and we're splitting it in half. And I'm telling the group, if the trade is good, we should respect midpoint of that inefficiency. So I'm talking about that fair value gap. I'm telling them that I like how my stop loss is above it, which is why I'm not interested in trailing it down anytime soon. So trading to the low end of it, and right here I'm talking about midpoint. So I'm saying I don't want to see us spend much time in the upper half. Okay, we can work the lower half all the way up to midpoint, but I would want to see respect of that consequent encroachment if it's good. So there's midpoint there. I'm letting them know why I'm not eager to move my stop. Upper half. And this was a really good educational day. The group got to see me they got to watch over my shoulder as far as how I like to manage a position that, if I'm in drawdown and my trade is spending a lot of time in drawdown, they got to see me live, how I kind of reduce my potential loss, how I protect my equity. And remember, this is paper, and a lot of people trip over the fact that it's paper. I wanted to trade live this morning, but obviously I couldn't. But everybody in the stream knows I trade my paper account the same way I trade my live account. So you saw me trimming off half my position when the trade was suspect. Then you saw me pyramiding. You see me taking partials. So I treat it the exact same way. It's no gambling. We professional over here. So footage is freezing a little bit while I'm typing in Discord, sending them the screenshot of what I'm expecting to see in price. Notice the bodies hugging the midpoint of that 5-minute inefficiency. That's what I want to see. You don't want to see the high end of that priced in. And then if you look on just this 1-minute chart, we do have a 1-minute fair value gap that we're trading in the side of right now. We have the opening bell in about 10 minutes, and that could bring some whiplash. So I'm already scaled out 8 out of my 10 contracts. I'm highlighting my partials there, and I'm explaining to them the reasonings for peeling them off there. So I'm aiming for my next partial that you see. I'm aiming for yesterday's first presented fair value gap. I'm talking about that order block again in the macro. So that's my draw, the first presented, and then my best case scenario exit is that sell side liquidity at around 19,730. You can see me highlighting midpoint of fair value gap. Price doing exactly what we wanted to see, which is respect that. Not have any interest in trading to the high end of it. And this is when I start playing with my limit orders. I'm trying to time it with the open. I want to be majority scaled out, like really only have one position on as we approach the 9:30 open, because we could just shoot up at the opening bell. And I'd rather have just one micro on instead of 2 if that happens. And I'm dragging it back down. We got about 6 minutes to the open. All right, I'm looking looking at dollar index. I'm explaining to them that dollar index is bullish, which is what we want to see. So if dollar index is working higher, ideally you want to see the indices working lower. That's a inverse relationship. That's something that I always look for. And then we're tapping the low, that 5-minute fair value gap, and we're also inside of that 1-minute SIBI. And you would want to see a reaction lower from that because all of that is in the lower half of the 5-minute fair value gap. 1-minute bearish order block, that last up close candle before rotating lower. At this point in time, we have about 2 minutes to the open, so I'm keeping my eyes on the clock, and I want to start scaling out. So we just taken out that new short-term low, and I'm going to peel off a partial there because we're running out of time before the open. So now I have only 1 out of my 10 contracts remaining, and I'm holding it for that best case scenario sell side exit. I don't demand that target, but should we get a crazy spike down, I would want to capture that. So trailing my stop above that swing high. I wouldn't want to be in the trade anymore if that high were to get taken out. And here's the open. So there's your first presented fair value gap from yesterday. That obviously would have been the better exit for my partial that I just took, but I'm not sweating it. It's 1 micro, it's no big deal. It's about a 10-15 point difference. I'm not going to spoil it this time. And you can see why I kind of like to be scaled out majority of my position as we head into the open. And here comes my stop out and profit, and there you go. So not the cleanest day execution wise. I had to close my position early, half my position, pyramid it back in, partials. So not the cleanest, but it was fun to let the Discord members see me kind of navigate a suspect trade, if you will, and take partials and kind of recoup, you know, what I lost from closing half of my position early. So we're back at it, live trading. Discord members tomorrow, not at 9:30. Okay, we're live trading around 8:15. Okay, we're going to be starting earlier now. And market review, should we have really clean price action, will be sent out to you guys later tonight as well. Mentorship students, I'll get lecture 5 to you all later this evening, and then we have meetings for those who have meetings today. Just check the schedule. YouTube, love y'all. See you soon. Peace.